Can you handle the media? Can you handle failure? Dude, if you're slumping, are you going to shrivel up into a raisin and not be able to like get out of bed because you haven't gotten a hit in 13 days? Like, are you going to be able to pull yourself out of that? Are you going to suck the life out of a team because you're hitting below 220? Like, dude, all that stuff matters. And if I would go back, I would say, dude, the whole thing matters. Whole thing. Being a good person, good teammate, like just being a benefit to have in the clubhouse, dude. That all matters, not just numbers.
Arteaga drives one to center. Miller hustling over. Diving catch by Ian Miller. A great catch.
3. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Nine Hole Podcast with David and Ian. David, what's going on, brother?
Hey, dude. What happened to the 2-1?
What are you talking about?
In the recording, I just heard 3.
That froze?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go back. We'll check the tape. We'll check the tape, dude. What's going on with you?
Nothing. Just trying to finish up some work in middle of the week and another day, another dollar.
I love that. I love that, dude. So you sent me over some stuff, some baseball stuff, which is fantastic. Obviously, the winter meetings are about to kind of get underway. I believe in Nashville coming up like the first week of December. I think it's the 4th or something like that.
Yeah,
Something like that.
I think they had like a preliminary some meetings, but I mean, to the general public, winter meetings are a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So like people that don't know about that, like, all the teams get together and they go over budgets and free agent markets and structure, and it's a kind of a party too.
For sure. So we were minor league free agents.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your agent, if you're working with somebody, hopefully strikes a deal or, bargains or negotiates on your behalf, test the waters, see what's out there, maybe, get some answers or some ideas from some clubs. Like I remember my agent at the time would, you have a meeting with certain teams, or if you're like a big agent with a big agency, or, you're a dude, maybe you get a meeting with all 30 teams in your time there. Right. But it's a wait. Yeah. Anything like that. They got the Rule 5 draft. I think they just had to solidify their 40-man roster, right? Heading into this, all that stuff. So yeah, there's a whole lot that goes there. There's like bat companies. That's where, that's where I was able to get like a partnership or sponsorship with Adidas, right? My agent was able to kind of talk to Adidas there and be like, yo, Ian's obsessed with your stuff. Can you
hook him up?
Can you hook him up? Can you do a deal with him? Right. So that's where that happens. Bat companies, they'll pitch to agents or they'll pitch to teams or whatever it is, but it's kind of like a showcase, or not a showcase, but that's where you do business. That's where you can solidify pretty much anything, dude. But so that's about to be happening. There's a bunch of like free agent stuff going on. And you might be a little bit more well versed than me, especially in all the baseball news, but this Japanese pitcher, I might butcher. Yamamoto. So Yoshinobu.
Yeah, I think that
Yamamoto, dude. You're saying he third straight MVP, tying Ichiro.
Yep.
Looks absolutely filthy. 94, 97. Looks like he's got an unbelievable splitter, banger,
off-speed
banger
stuff,
of a curveball.
Everything.
He's a free agent, so he's going to be coming over here, or
25 years old. It's crazy with the Japanese culture and tradition. It seems like every couple of years there's some new phenom coming out of there, and Yamamoto is the next one that's going to make the trek over to the States and Major League Baseball and see and test his skills. But it seems like all these guys that come over here, this is the biggest name probably since like Ohtani. Arm wise, every year some guys coming over, but this guy has a chance to come be like a number one for any basically MLB team.
So that's a long-term play. Long-term.
Yeah, he's at that caliber. Scouts are drooling over him. Plus stuff, great feel, pitching the classic for Japan. Some of the highlights I sent you, just striking out everyone.
Yeah, dude.
So
Multiple pitches.
big time money. Um, apparently, like I mean, we'll get on this, but the Giants are either like all in on Ohtani or Yamamoto. I mean, these teams are looking. I think it's changed a little bit back when I think my in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s and stuff. Like you were really trying to get one, mainstream stud of a pitcher. But then now it's a 162 game season, and if say that guy wins 20 ball games for you or whatever, like I don't know if like the numbers now translate to one guy, one pitcher every 5 days going out there and winning you a game.
Okay.
So I don't know if these teams take that in consideration more, but he's going to get paid, and I definitely think he's going to be a standout.
I love that. So that's going to be an addition, to any team that's going to probably try to make a push in the playoffs, try to win it. Right? It's not you would imagine Yamamoto is not going to go to a team that's rebuilding.
No,
Right? He would probably try to come over here, make some money, but hopefully he would be about winning. Maybe that would be the case. Is there a way that maybe Ohtani and Yamamoto end up on the same team? That would be an insane price
yeah,
tag, I'm sure.
that so like the Giants, the article I read is they're either all in on one or the other. Like I
Gotcha.
don't know salary cap wise if any team could afford both. And then you got to also think that like say like a Yankees that still have like a Garrett Cole or what have you. Yeah, it'd be awesome to have that many studs, but like you can only probably afford one of them.
100%, dude. Hundred
And that's kind of
percent, dude.
cool where it comes in from like a front office kind of standpoint, like who we putting all our cards in. And I mean, most of the time these guys come over from Japan and they do have success, but you're still taking a chance. Like the MVP, the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan, is probably number 2 in the world from a standpoint of competition, but it's a different
Yeah.
style of baseball. Like my buddy McGuff went over there and was lights out closer, and he came over here to the States, got a great deal with the Diamondbacks, was a staple in their bullpen, but it's a much different game. Like Japan plays a little bit more small ball, more bunting, moving runners over, that kind of stuff where it's a little bit more slap hitters, the easier speed.
Yeah.
McGuff throws mid 90s, but he was one of the hardest throwers there by far.
Oh,
But then you
wow.
come over to the States and guys are,
It's flamethrowers.
cranking home runs and everyone has a good arm. And so, yeah, I mean, I think he'll be successful, but it's going to be a little bit of a adapting to the style of baseball over here.
Makes a ton of sense, dude. Um, the Cardinals got Sonny Gray for 3 years, dude. So that
Yeah.
was what you had sent over, man. It was like he wanted to go there. Obviously, he was in a spot in his career where he's proven it, and you're maybe at the back end,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go, right? Like guys have no trade clauses and shit. But you know, maybe he wanted to. Obviously, what we were reading, it said that he loved the atmosphere there. Being a visiting player, the atmosphere. He specifically said like when the team was down and out, how passionate the fans were, like how
I've
well
heard
they
it's
stayed in
awesome
it,
there,
dude.
like to play
Oh,
there
I
and the
would have loved to have
fans.
played there.
Yeah. And that's like what I just got my brain spinning a little bit. One, to reach that level of free agency where you can be like, oh, I hope I go somewhere with the most money. Like he's going to make his money wherever he goes, but he has a choice of like, hey, I'm going to go somewhere that I'm either going to win or, the fans, the stadium, the city, like he's taking all that into consideration. So it got me thinking a little bit like if I was in that position and I could kind of pick a litter, where would I be going? Or like for you, like would you want to go play for the Phillies or,
Oh, hands down, no
you know,
questions asked, dude. It would be Philadelphia. No, not even like a. Wouldn't even think about it. I thought
but
that
even
would be
like
so cool.
even say you have a rough first half of the season. You're on a 3-year deal. You got $30 million contract or something. Philly fans are
Fucking
insane,
brutal, dude.
right?
They'll get you. But I love, dude. So it's fantastic. So Trey Turner signed this insane deal. Uh, Big deal, a lot of money, premium position, big market, right in the midst of, they have Bryce Harper, they have all this noise going on about him. Right, they brought in Schwarber, all these guys, dude, and they're fucking nasty.
Yeah,
But
good.
Trey Turner started off hot, like not good, right? He was kind of struggling in the beginning,
Mhm.
and the fans were like booing him and stuff,
That's what I'm saying.
and he
Like,
was getting kind of like fucked up a little bit, dude, little
yeah,
mentee, right? He was getting in there a little bit, and so
and he was
I,
coming off
I,
of the Classic where he, like, dominated,
yeah, I
right?
don't
Like, you
remember, I don't even
yeah,
remember what it was, dude, but I remember something. I forget what it was, but the fans like rallied around. I forget if something was said or whatever it was, but the momentum and like the support changed. And I remember they would like applaud him, or like they would,
pump him up a little bit.
pump him up, dude. And
Yeah,
like his numbers started like taking off, dude. And then it was game over. And the Phillies are absolutely nasty. It's incredible how like you can feed off of that and the
that's what I was gonna
support,
say.
dude. I felt like that. So when I'm in winter ball, I'm playing winter
Yeah,
ball, and I am an import player from the United States, and I am
similar.
making money, right? They're paying me to fly, from out of the United States, out of country, over. So I'm going to be
Yeah,
making,
more money.
significant amount of money, probably
Yeah,
more money than anybody else on the team.
the local guy, yeah.
Dude, so like the pressure, I feel like I would, if I got off to a rough start, I would feel like embarrassed. You're walking around, people know who you are, you stick out, right? White guy with tattoos, long hair, whatever it
Yeah,
is. Like that was me walking around in a foreign country. It's like, oh, we know who that guy is. So it's easy to be like down on your luck.
a lot of
That's
pressure.
just on my scale. You're talking about Trey Turner in Philly, dude. In
Yeah.
Philly,
Well, that's what I was
like
gonna
where
say, like,
they're
super solidified all-star, one of the best players in the game right now. Do you think, like, as a player, do you hold, like, a press conference and be like, "Hey, I know you guys are Philly fanatics, passionate fans. I wanna do well for the city, but I, as a player, am a little more sensitive. Like, could you please maybe not boo me when I come up to bat?" But then on the other side of that, some guys feed off of that and be like, "Oh, you think I suck right now? Like, watch this." You know?
yeah,
So
dude, would
everyone's
feed off
different.
of it.
I would
I
not do well if every time I pitched or something, guys were booing me.
It would be tough. It would be a tough look probably to address the crowd and like, yeah, hold a press conference and like touch on it. Like,
Yeah, I
hey
don't know how
guys, I
you
don't
do
like
it.
you booing me. This is my home field now. Please don't boo
Yeah,
me. But
be nice.
I think what happened was maybe a teammate, or somebody in the press or whatever it was, like suggested to rally around him, and like and whatever it was, the support stepped up, and it really made a huge difference. I don't know if addressing it, and holding a press conference about it
Yeah,
would be
that
the
might piss
go-to
off some
move.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, I
they'd be
don't
like, "Oh, look
know.
at this soft guy."
It would be sick to play
Sensitive.
in Philadelphia though, dude.
Yeah,
At least in my case, I always like daydreamed of it. I always looked, so like when I was in the big leagues, or knocking on the door, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, whatever team I was on, right? If I was on the Mariners, or if I was on the Twins, or if I was on the Cubs, I would look at their schedule and be like, all right, dude, they go to Philly in June. So
yeah.
like I better
I wanna
ball
get up
out
there by
early.
then.
I better
Yeah,
ball out early, dude, and be on that trip to Philly in June, or like, not so much that I don't care if the Phillies are coming to. I mean, now they have studs, man. But like, I really
yeah.
wanted to play in Philly, so I would see when the Philly trip was, and I'm like, man, I got to be there for that. Stinks. Never did it. Never got to. But
Seattle was like that for me, so, I mean, you know this, but they gave me a chance based off of bloodlines and genetics and what my dad did for them and, what I maybe could be capable in the future, but that was always my dream to play in Seattle, where I watched my dad as a little kid play, different stadium.
yeah,
They tore down the Kingdom, but I still think that, I mean, Seattle's a much different organization now than even when you and I played there. But like, it's weird because I live in Kansas now, but when I fly to Seattle, even as like an adult in my early 30s, like I feel home. Like I step off the plane or whatever, and you smell the clean Northwest air, and I'm just like, oh, this feels good. And I bet it's like that for you in Philly. But I'm not sure where Sonny Gray is actually from. I know he went to Vanderbilt. But yeah, when
yeah,
you
dude.
reach that level
So
of talent, you can do whatever you want,
they
go wherever
got
you want.
they got Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. So two veteran dudes that are also, coming in. I both starters,
Yeah.
right? So they're going to be a veteran presence. They're going to be able to eat up innings, give them good outings, quality starts, whatever it is. But also be like that leadership piece. I have personally shared a locker room with Kyle Gibson, and I've been struck out by Lance Lynn. So I feel close to him there in that regard. He made me look like an infant on a backfield in the spring training game. Broke my heart. Absolutely carved me up. Um, hurt my feelings. Hurt my
Yeah,
feelings.
it's not fun, right?
Yeah, but that's awesome to have in your clubhouse if you're trying to win, right? So I've always known the Cardinals as like fucking nasty. They got dudes. So Dylan Carlson. They had what's his name now on the Yankees with the longer hair. Uh, the outfielder. I mean, he did have long hair. That played for the Cardinals. Whatever. They had Tyler O'Neill over there.
Yeah, Tyler O'Neill.
Like they had a bunch of nasty dudes. Bader is the dude I'm
Yeah, oh
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
So they had Bader. They had all those guys. They had a bunch of like depth and stuff and talent. And obviously, like they got rid of some of those pieces. I don't know where the entirety of everybody is there, but like they've always had talent. It seemed like so maybe this is what they need. This is what they need. They need some pitching. I read somewhere that they had the fifth worst, pitching, whatever stat it was. Something they had the fifth worst something in ERA or whatever the fuck it was early.
Yeah.
I forget. I forget. But obviously, like pitching, they're bolstering their pitching. They're like beefing it up. So maybe
Well,
this
that's, I
makes
mean,
them
any team
nasty.
that has Arenado on it, I think has a chance. Like that's how much of an impact player he is. I know Wainwright just retired. I don't know if he saw what he wrote, but like when I
No,
retired, I had to fill out like a reason. You have to give a reason, which I think is kind of
dude,
silly.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I
I
wrote
just
on to
dipped
the
out.
next chapter,
Oh,
but Wainwright wrote, "I got a dog." That was what he wrote. Like they're like reason for retirement.
that's
He's
why
like,
he's retiring, huh?
I got a dog, but I mean, he played, I don't know, 20 years of the years, most all time winning pitcher in Cardinals history. Like he's got a crazy career, but towards the end of his career, I mean, he was doing 84 miles an hour and still pitching well. But
For
there's
sure.
guys that like Sonny Gray or Gibson or Lynn or Mikolas. That's a big time name too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got a chance. I just think it's crazy reading that stuff. My like I said, my brain was just spinning. Like that guy can choose, you know. Like he probably has offers from really whoever
Yeah.
wants him, but early on in your career, you get to free agency, that's insane. But there might be, you don't get to be like, hey, I want to go play here. He got to choose, and he had an unreal last couple years, and I'm excited to see what the Cardinals do.
Yeah, dude. So Ohtani, we had somebody comment on it was either our TikTok or our Instagram, one of our posts that we talked about Ohtani last time, and we were talking about does he want to win or does he want like record breaking money or can you have both? Like, what is he going to be influenced by more,
Yeah,
the money or does he want to win? And where would he go? Somebody on our page said that they think that he's going to the Blue Jays.
I
Blue
haven't heard that at
Jays, dude.
all.
Yeah, no, neither have I. But now, that's what I think, and I
Well,
know nothing about it.
I don't know. Like Vegas, I swear, like controls the world, and they know things that no one else does. And if you look at like the actual odds where he's going to land, the Dodgers are like super heavy favorites, and
Dang.
The Cubs are next in line. Like I think
Yeah.
Dodgers are plus 110, which I
Okay.
mean you get like $10 if you bet 100. And then the Cubs are
Giants.
plus 350, and
Oh,
the Giants now are making a move. Um, I think that it's gonna change. Like I think he might not sign until a little closer to the season. He's probably going to weigh
yeah,
all his options, and we've talked about this. Is he going to just hit? Is he going to still pitch? I don't know. I mean, you got to take all that into consideration.
dude. These articles that I'm reading are that he is requesting that it all be kept private, right? So he is going to go visit with all these teams. It would be absolutely absurd that every team doesn't at least extend a visit, right? This
Yeah,
invitation to Ohtani and his representation. You would think that would be the case. But Ohtani has asked that none of this be leaked, this whole process be private to the media, that like it doesn't come out that Ohtani is in town. He's visiting with, the front office, coaches, whatever it is, team. He asked for total privacy. And he said that if anything like that came out and it leaked at all about him being in town to visit a team,
he's off.
he would hold it against the team. So
Also,
it's
like,
like,
what
hey,
about the
I'm in.
public eye? Like, he's 6'5", 240 Japanese dude. Like, what if
I don't
someone's
know,
walking down the
dude.
street, going to the supermarket, and they see Shohei Ohtani
Nah,
going
I
to
think they're
the?
keeping it like s-
He's wearing like a
secret,
Halloween mask or something.
dude. I don't know. He might. He
Yeah,
might.
you never know. Like
But
we
they'll
talked about
hold
that
it
Taylor Swift was being
against
moved around in a
popcorn
popcorn
machine.
machine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You said that. That's what you thought.
maybe they're doing that with Ohtani.
Hide them in
You
a
know,
popcorn
he's
machine
flying
or
into
something
San
like that.
Francisco and he's in a gorilla costume walking around downtown.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. That would
Yeah,
that would be something right there, man. So, all right. So Giants, Cubs, Dodgers. They seem like the front runners. Um.
I've just
So
always
we.
been curious with these Japanese players, especially the pitchers. It seems like they're pitchers. Like Otani has really broke the mold for hitting wise. I mean, Ichiro obviously was one of the best hitters of all time. Um, but from like a power standpoint, there hasn't been a, a guy like that come from Japan in a long time. I try to work in youth baseball, and we talk about this a lot. But the dedication to the craft, I think, really starts from like the ground up in Japan. I think they're very, very disciplined. They work harder. You know, they go about their business. Their long toss programs are spot on. You know, so I wonder how much of that really translates to their success at the high levels. You know, starting from 5, 6, 7 years old, going to these academies or these programs. Or I don't know enough about it, but something's different for these guys
Yeah, dude. They're
because I mean they're so disciplined. Their
yeah.
whole culture is like that.
They got to be. I mean, yeah. My thought process would be anything is teachable, right? Anything's learnable, maybe, but that's probably got to be hit on early, dude. So to
Yeah.
have discipline like that, to have man, be regimented and stick to it, dude.
Well, have you ever seen
That
that video? Like, I mean, specifically talking about like Asian cultures. There's a video in like Japan, like it was China kindergarten or something, and they're all these kids, like 200 kids, have two basketballs in their hand, and they're dribbling basketballs and going like it's insane. But like the discipline to like, and how they do it is just crazy. But I think like something about that over in those cultures, like here, you know, kids are still working hard,
I
but
get
there's
it,
so many
dude,
other outside sources like distracting them
for sure,
and
for
keeping up
sure.
with social media. And like if
Yes,
someone's like
dude.
really into books or whatever, like, hey, you're a nerd, like get on TikTok, whatever. Like I wish kids were, especially here in the
Discipline.
States, yeah,
Maybe had
disciplined,
that.
or you only know what you know, but like just more true to themselves. And I feel like a lot of these Japanese guys that come over and stuff like know who they are a little
Hell
bit, or
yeah.
they want
Yeah,
to, you know, do right by their families or make their country proud. And there's never been more of a time in the U.S. where we were more together as like a country than. I mean, it sounds horrible, but after 9/11, I don't know if you remember that, but everyone was flying flags. Like you go to the grocery store, how you doing, all that stuff. But as a nation, I think we've really gotten away from that, and we're way more divided. And you see that in sports, you see that in everyday life. But these guys coming over here, I mean, they're doing it for their country, they're doing it for their family, their parents, whatever. And I wish we could get back to that a little bit more.
yeah,
You know, just
dude. I
that
get it.
proud.
I get it, man. Just hitting on like that discipline thing, being regimented and I don't know, not just your routine, but yeah, I guess overall discipline and, making it, trying to master your craft. And, I get back to the Ichiro thing with like it being an art. And I don't know, man, like that's got to be, you learn that from a young age, got to learn that from a young age. So like maybe that's on the parents. That's on the parents, like teaching the kids, right? So that whatever habits that these kids might have, I mean, where they're going to learn it from first and foremost.
I think it's definitely the parents start it, but like also just the culture as a whole. Like the high school I went to, small town, kind of country, but they are like I think it's like the most winningest football program in the state of Kansas or something. Like over the last like 15 years, they've won, I don't like 10 state championships. And it starts from Pee Wee football all the way up to high school. And I'm not kidding. Everyone from this little town is successful. They start their own plumbing business, they start their own whatever. But like it starts with, it's all around football. So like as a culture, I don't know how you like permeate or how you get that out there a little bit, but as these organizations or these programs that are popping up left and right, whatever, like it's got to be an emphasis on winning and being dedicated or whatever. But like that, my little hometown that I went to high school in has that. I think Japan
Love
has
that.
that. I think there's parts of the states or some programs that have that, but me as a coach or someone running an organization, like you have to instill that, from the time they can swing a bat.
For sure.
It's hard.
For sure. For sure. If you're surrounded by it, yeah, it's easy to kind of surround yourself with that type of culture or, those type of habits or work ethic. It might be a little easier to buy in and, you know,
Yeah.
implement. But
Everything should be around a goal.
yeah,
I think baseball should be fun. I think sports should be fun, but there should be, you should give yourself affirmations or goals. And if you don't have any of those, like, what are you living for?
hundred
If you
percent.
want to be on autopilot and just wake up and go do the same thing every day, like some people are like that, and the power to them. But for people like me and you, especially with our background, I got to have something to work towards, or I got to have something to look forward to.
Oh, 100%. 100%. 100%. Got to be striving to like for something,
Yeah,
pushing some type of boundary, like pushing a boundary on yourself, whether it's sharpening a skill or learning a new whatever it is, dude. Gotta be. That's just how we've kind of risen through where we have come from, dude. But like speaking to that on the 9-hole side of it,
hmm
right? So just going through, I'm thinking about the rise through the minor league system, through college baseball, through high school, all of that. Um, so you said if you could go back, would you change anything?
yeah,
Right, looking back on what I know now and what I've experienced, and dude, honestly, I was gonna say no.
yeah. You were pretty dedicated from the start.
So I
Had a good
wanted to
routine.
play, yeah, exactly. I appreciate it, dude. I wanted to like play into that, right? I wanted to kind of follow up with what we talked about on the dedication part of the Japanese culture, whatever it is. But like, dude, I think if I had to do it over again now, knowing what I know, like it would be hard to stay as dedicated um, to it and completely buy in. Just knowing what I know now, so many outside factors. Thinking about when the career's over, setting up for the long term, dude. I just feel like there would be so many factors. Whereas before, I was so blind. I think the only reason why I made it to the major leagues was because I was so blind to the outside world that this was the only thing that existed for
Yeah,
me. Dude, I knew nothing else. Yeah, and you know me. Dude, you know me. So like coming out of, dude, I still don't know anything about politics, right? I surrounded myself, I like business stuff and, stocks and whatnot. But like, dude, I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew baseball. The only thing that like mattered to me, and the only thing that really mattered was, sacrificing and grinding to get to a certain goal. And then, dude, when it got here, when I achieved it, I'm like, dude, now
Now
What am
what?
I working towards?
Yeah.
Like what's the new thing? You know what I mean? It was crazy. That was crazy.
And we've hit on that before, but I think that's what's going to make us successful in anything we do, and I'm very grateful to that. But it also can be negative because, like, you think of a high school kid signing in the 8th round, getting, I don't know, $400,000,
Mm.
$600,000, whatever it is, playing 7, 8 years in the minor leagues. All he knows is baseball. All he knows is that lifestyle. When he comes out, yes, he will have that work ethic, but then he doesn't. He has no other skills. I mean, I'm 33 years old and on my, third career, but I almost feel behind sometimes. Because I have all these crazy experiences, all the travel, playing in Australia, meeting friends from all over the world, pitching at some of the highest levels, playing all this beautiful game. But I got buddies that are around my same age that have been with the company for 10, 15 years that are now on a very high level, making very good money. So would I change anything about my playing? No, like, not from that standpoint. But sometimes I get a little bit like, oh, I wish I maybe had a chance to, 10 years from now, I'll be in a great spot with the company I'm at or a new company. But I feel like, you come out of baseball at 30 years old and yes, you have a lot of advantages, but you're also starting fresh in the world a little bit.
What would you say or wish you knew in short season? Right? So if you could go back and, tell yourself something, tell your 20-year-old self in like short season ball, um, like some advice, dude. What would you say? I have my answer, dude.
Yeah.
But would love to hear yours first.
I truly wish I didn't try to throw as hard just every single pitch. Like, I sacrificed location, I sacrificed just like my mental state for just pure stuff. And I
Mm,
threw a little harder when I was younger, but I wasn't throwing 97 miles an hour, but my mechanics were not very good. I was max effort every pitch. I was closing in short season. And
mm.
I wish, knowing what I know now, like, hey, let's dot up a little bit more. Let's get ahead, stay ahead. You don't have to be, but then it's also kind of detrimental because now it's just like based on pure stuff. Like, if I was throwing 90-mile-an-hour sinkers and getting everyone out, I think in today's game they'd be like, you need to throw 94.
Yeah.
You need to
So
throw 96.
you're saying you probably weren't like true
No, to
enough,
me, yeah,
yeah, to you and your game. You kind of bought into what you thought you needed to do based off of like everybody else, I guess. Kind of
yeah,
what they expected of you, right? As opposed to like playing and pitching to your strengths.
yeah. And on the opposite side of you kind of always knew what made you you. I worked hard. I got in the weight room. I did all my sets. I threw on weight. I did my sprints. I ran crazy, but it was almost like this. I just had to do that. I didn't
Yeah.
really have like a goal. I was just like, oh, I gotta go work out. It wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hone in on my stretching. It was kind of just like mindless, like, hey, jump in, go do this with everyone else, follow the pack. And I wish I would have been a little bit more vocal. I mean, I went through Tommy John, all that,
Yeah.
and I didn't really listen. I wish I was a little bit more advocate for myself and my career, and almost like outside looking in perspective, like, hey, you're in charge of your own kind of destiny, or you're
Yeah,
your own
dude.
boss. Because I was kind of just like, I wasn't as confident as I was towards the end of my career. At the lower levels, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I felt that way. And it wasn't until 3, 4 years in where I was like, wait, I think I'm good enough.
Yeah.
I didn't have that confidence because I wasn't very good in college.
Dude,
I
I
wish I
feel
could tell
that.
myself, hey man, you are good enough, but be your own boss a little bit.
I love that. Dude, I love that. I feel that too. I feel like a little of myself in there, dude. So if I had to go back and give 20-year-old me, baseball player Ian, advice, dude, I would say that the whole product matters, not just the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like the way that I would look at it now is like, as a baseball player, I would be a product, right? So I'm trying to fine tune and sharpen my skills every day with practice to put out the best product on the field every night at 7 p.m., right? 7:05 p.m. first pitch. I want to put the best Ian Miller out there, the best product out there for the fans, for the scouts, right? For everybody in attendance, in hopes of making it to the major leagues, right? That's the majority of what I just focused on, right? So I needed to play to my strengths. I needed to, work out a certain way. I needed to do things a certain way, do a routine a certain way. I needed to obsess over things a little differently than everybody else, because that's just the shit that I needed to do, right, to get to where I needed to go. That's the only thing that I knew, right? So if I could go back and just give myself a little advice, 20-year-old me, I would say the whole the whole entirety of the product matters most that you're putting out there, as opposed to just the numbers that you put up, right? So as a hitter, as a baseball player, you get so caught up in the numbers, dude. The numbers matter. The numbers are everything. I need to hit 300. 331 was the number I would uh, try to hit every single year. Going into every single year, 331 was the number that I dreamed about, saw, wrote down, thought of anything, envisioned. Like, I wanted to hit 331. If I stunk, it didn't get anywhere close, I hit 270, right? That's just the way that I wanted it. And the years that I was dominant, I hopefully land up somewhere near there, right? I had some good years, I had some average years, but like, that's just the number that I always was aiming for, dude. But I got so obsessed over the numbers, and I got to steal 50 bags, I got to hit 300, I got to get promoted, that it almost took away from the whole product, right? So, Ian Miller as a player, or whoever in this case. So it's like the whole product matters, dude. Are you a good teammate?
Yeah.
Are you a mental midget? Can you handle success? Can you handle failure? Are you a guy that's kind of like, you're not a a piece of crap teammate when things are going well? You're not braggadocious. You're not like on top of the world and your teammate's struggling. Like, can you
I
handle
hated
that,
those
dude?
guys.
That's
Yeah.
serious, man. That is
I had a lot of
serious.
those.
And like, dude, when there's a decision to be made over, hey, are we going to call a guy up, or are we going to draft a guy, or are we going to put this guy on our team, or sign this guy? Dude, numbers matter way more. The
Mm-hmm.
whole product, the whole thing. Can you handle the media? Can you handle failure? Dude, if you're slumping, are you going to shrivel up into a raisin and not be able to like get out of bed because you haven't gotten a hit in 13 days? Like, are you going to be able to pull yourself out of that? Are you going to suck the life out of a team because you're hitting below 220? Like, dude, all that stuff matters. And if I would go back, I would say, dude, the whole thing matters. Whole thing. Being a good person, good teammate, like just being a benefit to have in the clubhouse, dude. That all matters, not just numbers.
I think that's awesome. And it sounds a little silly, but I used to have that same kind of mindset from a fan perspective. Like if we were playing in Clinton, Iowa, and there was 34 fans in the stands, I seriously
Play there, dude.
I seriously used to think, hey, there might be a little boy that's coming to his first minor league game today. And how you carry yourself, after I just gave up a mammo tank. Am I screaming on the mound? Am I yelling the F word? And this kid's looking up to me and wanting my autograph. And even
Yeah,
if it's some backfield, whatever. But like, are you strike out? Are you moping back, dragging your bat? Are you showing up the bat boy?
do
Are
you
you
play
yelling at
hard?
the umpire? Yeah, are you running out a rollover ground ball to second base? Like a little kid could see all that, and I
Hundred
took that
percent.
to heart. And like I've told you this from the get go, I didn't have the best stuff in the world. I competed, I worked hard, but I was a great teammate. I was one of those guys that if I was pitching good, bad, and different, I got put on the Phantom roster a couple times where they're like, hey, and that was basically because of just how good of a teammate it was. Like if I sucked or if I was dominating, I tried. It was hard, but I wanted to be the same guy in that clubhouse.
Yeah,
How can I help the team win today, even though I'm not even activated? Am I still going to work out? Like I could be in AAA. I mean, people don't know this, but like there's so much turnover, up and down, up and down, up and down. And they might put you on a phantom roster, send you down to short season, but you're still in AAA, and you might be there for 3 days, and then someone gets called up to the big leagues, and you're starting that next night.
yeah.
It's like you always have to be ready. And if I crumpled up like a, in a little ball and been like, this
Raisin.
isn't fair, life isn't fair. But I mean, I got put in AAA my first year as basically like a filler, and I had some of the best numbers on the team.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's
It's
just
crazy.
keeping that mindset, and even if it's almost like a little bit not realistic, you got to have something to keep working towards.
100% agree. If you're not striving like towards something, I mean, what are you doing? So, dude, that's about all I got, man. You got
Same.
anything else you want to throw in there, man? You're about to take a little trip here coming up, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll get together when you get back.
No, I'm good. I think the next couple episodes, obviously, there'll be a lot happening in free agency and after the winter meetings, and any big news we're gonna hit on, we're gonna touch on, and
I love it.
give our opinions. And I'd love to hear it. Like the guy commented something about the Blue Jays, like
Yeah, he
that
did.
could be some information that I didn't know, but I want to hear all that stuff. Like that's why we're here. We want to help. You want to help. I just look forward to every time we can jump on the mic.
I love that. All right, well, let's looking forward to it, brother. So, thank you everybody for tuning in, David. Thank you for your time. We'll catch you guys next week.
9 hole.